Hello everyone, my name is Ashok and welcome to our channel Ashok IT. In this video we are going to understand what is Gradle, how to set up Gradle and how to work with the Gradle Build Tool and what is the difference between Maven and Gradle. Before getting started, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more updates. As part of this video, we are going to learn what is Build Tool, why we need to go for build tools, Maven versus Gradle, Gradle setup, creating Gradle project, Gradle project folders, project structure, build scripts and tasks, adding the dependencies to the Gradle project, adding repositories in the Gradle project, and what is Gradle wrapper, and how to build Java projects by using Gradle, and conclusion. Today we are here to discuss about the Gradle. So what is this Gradle? Gradle is an open source build automation tool. This Gradle released in the year of 2007. Gradle tool has taken advantages of both Ant and Maven and removed disadvantages of both. What are the drawbacks available in the Ant and Maven? Those disadvantages are removed from Gradle. Whatever the advantages are available, Gradle has taken the advantages of them. This Gradle tool developed in Groovy language, but we no need to learn that Groovy language to work with the Gradle. It developed in the Groovy language. Gradle tool makes project build automation process easy. Gradle tool used by large projects like Hibernate and Spring. So Gradle is a build tool. What is build tool and what is build process? So what are the phases involved in the build process? Downloading required dependencies. What are the jars that are required for our project? We need to download the required dependencies and we need to add the dependencies to the project build path. Whatever the jars we have downloaded, we need to add the jar files to the project build path and we need to compile the source code of the project. Developers will write the .java files. Those .java files we can't execute directly. We need to compile that source code into .class files. Once the source code is compiled, then we need to execute unit tests of our project. We need to execute unit tests of our project. Once unit tests are executed, we need to package the project as a jar file or war file. So this is called build process. So for every project, build process is mandatory. Build process is going to convert the project source code into executable file. By performing above steps, we will convert the project source code into executable file. Whatever the source code is developed by the developers, that source code we can't execute directly. So we need to follow some steps in order to convert that source code into executable file. Whatever the steps that we are going to follow to convert the source code into executable file, that is called as build process in the project. Developers has to perform this build process in the local and the DevOps engineers has to perform this build process in the higher environments. So as a developer, when we are writing the code, we need to test our code is working as expected or not. In our local system, we need to follow the build process. Once we are done with the coding process, then to deploy that code into the servers environments, DevOps engineers has to perform this build process. So instead of doing this build process manually, we can take the help of build tools to automate the build process. So now to automate the above steps in the build process, there are several tools available. Those tools are called as build tools. Build tools are used to automate build process of the project. So what are the build tools that are available in the market? Earlier, people used to work with Ant as a build tool. After the Ant, Maven came into picture. After the Maven, Gradle came into picture. So what are the build tools available in the market? Ant build tool, that was very old and outdated build tool. After the Ant, Maven build tool came into picture. After the Maven, Gradle build tool came into picture. Currently, Gradle is having more demand in the market. I will explain you why Gradle is having more demand than Maven. What are the differences between the Maven and Gradle also? We are going to understand today. So in order to work with the Gradle, first we need to set up the Gradle. Now, to set up the Gradle, Java software is required, guys. So now check Java is installed or not in your system. If Java is not available, then you need to install the Java. Once the Java software is available in your system, then download Gradle software as a zip file. Download Gradle software as zip file and extract that zip file. Once we have extracted that zip file, then set the path for Gradle in the environment variables. Once the path setup is completed for the Gradle in the environment variable, then check the Gradle version. Really, Gradle is working or not. So how to verify Java is working or not? Java-version. Java-version. When I execute Java-version, you can see Java version is available in my machine. Then download Gradle software as a zip file and extract it. Download Gradle. Gradle.org website is available. Directly you can go to gradle.org and you can download that and we can install it. So just click on binary only. When I click on binary only, Gradle zip file will be downloaded. Go to downloads folder. So Gradle zip file is downloaded. Okay, guys. So simply extract that zip file. Once this extraction got completed, go to the Gradle folder. In the Gradle folder, you can see bin directory. That is gradle.bat. So for this Gradle bin directory, we need to set the path in our environment variables. Understand? Go to system variables, edit our system variables, take the path of the Gradle up to bin directory, then edit system variables. Once we edit the system variable, go to this environment variable section, go to path, click on edit. Here, we don't have the Gradle path. Now, click on new. I'm setting the path for the Gradle. Gradle up to bin directory. Click on OK, click on OK, click on OK. That's it. So with this, I'm able to set up the path for Gradle. How to check the Gradle is working or not? Simply go to command prompt, Gradle-V. When I click on this Gradle-V, yes, Gradle 7.6 version is working in my system. Once the Gradle installation got completed, we are good to go. Now guys, in the Gradle, if you want to create a project, then you will use a command simple Gradle init command. Gradle init command is used to create the project by using Gradle. Okay, so let me go to here CMD. I'm opening the command prompt. Now I'm executing a command called Gradle init command. Just observe. Do you want to create one application in the Gradle? Or do you want to create one library by using Gradle? Do you want to create one plugin by using Gradle? I want to create one application by using Gradle. So choose one option. When I execute this program, it is saying that select type of the project to generate. Do you want to generate a basic application? Or do you want to generate one complete application? Do you want to generate one library? Do you want to generate one plugin? What is your option? From 1 to 4, you select it. I want to generate one application. I'm giving 2, option 2. When I click on option 2, it is asking, select implementation language. Which type of project you want to develop? Do you want to develop C++ project? Do you want to develop Groovy project? Do you want to develop Java project? Or you want to use a Kotlin project? Or you want to use a Scala? Or you want to use a Shift? What type of project you want to develop by using Gradle? Here comes the difference between Maven and Gradle. Maven is used to develop only Java projects, but Gradle not only for Java, it is supporting for C++, supporting for Groovy, supporting for Kotlin, supporting for Scala, supporting for Shift also. So Gradle is universal build tool, not only for Java. You can use Gradle for other languages also. Whereas Maven can be used only for Java projects. Gradle can be used for Java as well as for other projects also. Now, what type of language you want to use to create the project? I want to create the Java project. Give the option 3. Now, when I give option 3, it is asking, so split functionality across sub-projects, or do you want to create only one project, or do you want to create multiple projects? I want to create only one project now. Give option 1. When I give option 1, it is asking build script. So build script is nothing but a script file which Gradle will use to perform the build process. I want to tell to Gradle, hey Gradle, download Spring jar files. Hey Gradle, add the jar files to build path. Hey Gradle, compile my project source code. Gradle, package my project as a jar file. So all these build process steps I want to give for the Gradle. So that the build script we need to write. Do you want to write the build script by using Groovy, or do you want to write it by using Kotlin? I want to write the build script by using Groovy. I'm giving the option as 1. Okay, when I give the option as 1, generate build using new APIs and behaviors. Some features may change in the next minor release. Default option, no, I don't want any new changes here. Now, which testing framework you want for Java project? To perform unit testing, which test framework we are going to use? I will use some JUnit 4. Give the option 1. Right. When I give the option 1, what is the project name you want? Do you want the project name as current directory name? My current directory name is Gradle Workshop. Do you want same thing as a project name? No, I will give my project name as my Gradle app 1. Okay, what is the default package name you want? The default package name I want as Ashok IT. Finally, my build is successful. That means I'm able to create one project by using Gradle. So what is the command that I have used to create a project by using Gradle? Gradle init command. The command that I used to create the Gradle project is Gradle init command. When I execute Gradle init command, Gradle daemon started. It asked me, boss, what type of project you want to generate by using Gradle? Which language you want to use to develop that project? Okay. What is the build script language that you want to use in your project? Which testing framework you want to use in your project? What is the name that you want for your project? What is the package name you want in the project? It is asking all the details. Based on the given details, Gradle generated one project for us. Let us go here. Gradle generated one project for me. So whenever we generate a Gradle project structure is going to look like this. If you open the Gradle project in the IDE, so you can see that left side screenshot, like this, a Gradle project will look like in the IDE. If you see in the Gradle project, what are the folders will be created? The most important thing in the Gradle, that is the build.gradle. In the build.gradle, we are going to write our Gradle build script. That means from where it has to download the dependencies, what dependencies it has to download, how to test those classes in the project, how to compile, how to package, all the build related configuration we are going to write inside build.gradle. You see, build.gradle file got generated here. Okay, inside the Gradle, here inside the app, you can see build.gradle file got generated. Build.gradle file contains Gradle configuration. So in the Maven, we will have here pom.xml to do the Maven configuration. In the Gradle, we have build.gradle. In the Maven, we have pom.xml. In the Gradle, we will have build.gradle. Right. And one more directory is available, Gradle directory. Inside the Gradle directory, there is a wrapper. Gradle wrapper is available. Gradle wrapper is very useful concept. Sir, what is this Gradle wrapper? What this Gradle wrapper will do? Gradle wrapper will run the Gradle without installing in the another computer. Now, I have installed Gradle in my system. I created a Gradle project in my system. If I give this Gradle project for you, without installing the Gradle software, you can run in your system because Gradle wrapper will take care of the Gradle installation in your system. So now if you go for Maven, if you want to run the Maven in your computer, you will need to install the Maven, then only you can build Maven project. If I want Maven to build in my project, I need to install Maven, then I can build it. So to execute the Maven commands, we need to install the Maven first. Whereas in the Gradle, that installation is not required. Already I have installed Gradle. I have created the Gradle project. Okay. So if I give this Gradle project for you, you can execute the Gradle project. You can build the Gradle project in your system without installing the Gradle. That is called Gradle wrapper. Gradle wrapper will provide you the Gradle runtime to build your Gradle project. Are you guys clear with my point? In one system, we will install the Gradle and we will create a Gradle project. That a Gradle project we can build in any system because Gradle wrapper will take care of the runtime. So to install the Gradle in your system, Gradle wrapper will be used. Okay, so in that Gradle wrapper jar file available, Gradle wrapper properties available. That means to run the Gradle wrapper in your system, what settings are required, what configurations are required, those configurations will be part of Gradle wrapper. Now, Gradle W. So Gradle W is the wrapper for Linux and Mac operating systems. Gradle w.bat file, this is the wrapper for Windows. So now, if I give the Gradle project for you, you can run that Gradle project by using Gradle w.bat file. That is a Gradle wrapper file for Windows operating system. Fifth one. If you want to use the Gradle project in the Linux machine, you can use Gradle W, fourth one, as a Gradle wrapper. To create these Gradle wrapper files, these Gradle wrapper jar, Gradle wrapper properties files are available. Settings.gradle file will contain our project details. Build.gradle, that is the most important file in the Gradle. Build.gradle file is the one where we will write our script. For example, I want MySQL connector jar file for my project. MySQL connector is a dependency for my project. I will tell to Gradle, hey Gradle, please download MySQL connector. That configuration I will write in the build.gradle. Hey Gradle, I want Hibernate jar file. I will configure Hibernate jar file in the build.gradle. I want to Spring Boot. Hey Gradle, download the Spring Boot dependency for my project and add it to the build path. So whatever the build process that we want to do, we will inform to the Gradle by using build.gradle script file. If the people are using Maven, that is equal to pom.xml. In the Maven, we will have pom.xml. In the Gradle, we have build.gradle. So what is the difference between Gradle and Maven? If you want to do the Maven build, Maven software should be installed in your system. But for the Gradle, it is not required. By using Gradle wrapper, we can run the Gradle in any machine without installing it. So that script file in the pom.xml, in the Maven, script file is a XML configuration. Whereas in the Gradle, the script you can write by using Groovy language or you can write it by using Kotlin. So in today's session, I will explain how to write that script by using Groovy language. It is very easy. Once the Gradle project is created, src main Java, src test Java will be created, and build.gradle file, Gradle W, Gradle w.bat, settings.gradle. So once this Gradle is available, see the app src main Java in Ashok IT app.java. One Java class is created by default. Okay. Similarly, one test class also created by default. Test Java in.ashokit.apptest.java. One JUnit test class also created by default. So we asked this Gradle to create a sample Java project. It created the Java project. We can execute some tasks in the Gradle. In the Maven, we call it as Maven goals. In the Gradle, these are called as Gradle tasks. What are the tasks we can execute? Task nothing but that action Gradle has to perform. Let's go for Gradle tasks. When I execute a command Gradle tasks, it is telling what tasks we can execute on this project. When I execute Gradle tasks, what tasks we can execute, it is telling that. You can execute several tasks in this project, run task. So when you execute the run task, run this project as a JVM application. If you execute Gradle run, it is going to run this application directly. You can execute to build a task. When you execute to build, it will perform the build process, compile, test, then package application as a jar file, build dependents and build needed, classes, clean, jar, test classes. So build setup, init, wrapper, distribution tasks, dist jar, dist zip, bundles the project as a distribution zip file or jar file. Java doc, generate the documentation for the project. Okay, so these are the some tasks that are available in the Gradle. We can execute those tasks. For example, if I execute a task, Gradle w.bat, this is my wrapper. always recommended to perform Gradle operations by using Gradle wrapper. For Windows, what is the Gradle wrapper? Gradle w.bat. Gradle w.bat is used as a wrapper for the Windows. So here I'm using Gradle w.bat space run. When I execute run command, what is going to happen? Now you see, hello world. Am I able to get the output? Yes, I'm getting the hello world. Let me change the message in my project. Go to app, src, main, Java, in Ashok IT, app.java. It is giving just a hello world. Okay, let me change this message. Welcome to Ashok IT. Welcome to Ashok IT. Like this, I'm changing the message in this Java program. So now, just I am saving the program. Who will compile this program and who will run this program? Do I need to compile? Do I need to run? Or it will be taken care by Gradle? Do I need to compile? Do I need to run? Or it will be taken care by Gradle? Do I need to compile this project or this compilation will be taken care by Gradle? Gradle will take care of that. How to compile this project by using Gradle? Simple. Let me execute a command called Gradle w.bat. It is my wrapper. You can execute directly Gradle also. You can use the Gradle command also, or you can use Gradle wrapper also. Anything is fine. Gradle space build. When I execute Gradle space build, what will happen? It is executing several tasks. It will compile the classes. It will test the classes. It will package the classes. Okay, Gradle build is a success. Now I will execute Gradle run command. When I execute Gradle run command, you see it is giving the program output. Welcome to Ashok IT. So when I execute Gradle run, it is compiling my program. It is running my program also. Okay. Now let us see what happened in our project. App build generated in the libs app.jar. Our project is packaged as a jar file also. Whatever the build process is there, downloading the dependencies, adding the dependencies to the build path, compiling the project source code, executing unit test cases, packaging the project as a jar file or war file. Who is doing these steps? As a programmer, I'm doing these steps, or my Gradle is doing these steps. Build process is automated or build process is not automated. I want to compile my classes. Okay, Gradle space compile Java. This is one task for the Gradle. I'm telling to Gradle, hey Gradle, compile Java. When I use Gradle compile Java, it will perform compilation of the project. It is going to perform compilation of the project. So this is a task. See here, when I give Gradle compile Java, it is compiling my project. When I execute Gradle build, it will compile and it is going to package my project as a jar file. When I use Gradle run, it is running my class. Whatever the main class is available in the project, that class also executed by Gradle. Gradle run command is executing that main class also. How to work with the build script in the Gradle. So to work with the build script in the Gradle, first, let's understand. This is the most important part, guys. In the interview also, they will ask this. Build.gradle. How we have pom.xml file in the Maven, in the Gradle, we will have build.gradle file. So in this build.gradle file, we need to write the Gradle scripting. The configuration that is required for the Gradle, how we will write the Maven pom.xml. Similarly, we need to write build.gradle file. In the build.gradle file, I'm using Groovy DSL, domain specific language. Domain specific language I'm going to use. The first thing that we will write is plugins. What plugins you want to use in the project? Do you want to use Java? Do you want to use Spring Boot? What you want that you can specify as a plugin. For example, for this project, I need Java, ID, Java, plugins, ID, Java. I want Java in order to run this project. I need Java to run this project. And the next one is dependencies section. What are the dependencies you want to use in this project? Okay, so dependencies, I want to use dependency like MySQL connector. I want to use dependency as a MySQL connector -j. Okay, and I want to use a dependency test implementation. I want to use JUnit dependency for my test implementation. MySQL connector dependency, I need to connect with the database. JDBC driver I need. Instead of I am downloading the driver, I'm telling to the Gradle to download that driver. So this is a test implementation. That means this JUnit jar file is required only for the test. MySQL connector is required for the compile time as well as for runtime. To compile my project, to run my project, I need this MySQL connector. JUnit is used only for the test compilation, test execution. So we will configure the plugins. We will configure the dependencies. And similarly, here we can configure repositories also. Here we can configure repositories also. From where you want to download the dependencies? I want to download the dependencies from Maven central repository. So this MySQL connector jar file, I want to download from the Maven central repository. Okay, here you can configure Maven central repository, and here you can configure plugins that are required. What are the repositories you want to use? What are the dependencies you want to use? You can configure here. Like this, we are going to write our build.gradle scripting. Okay, in the build.gradle scripting, we will specify what plugins we need, what repositories we need, and what are the dependencies we need. So I want to use a Hibernate dependency. I need to declare that Hibernate dependency here. I want to use a servlet dependency. I need to declare in the dependency section. I want to use a Spring Boot. I need to declare that Spring Boot dependency here. What are the dependencies you want for your project? Those dependencies we need to declare in the dependencies section. From where we need to get the dependencies? The dependencies should be downloaded from the Maven central repository. We can configure the repository section here. What plugins you want to use for your project? We need to configure that in the plugins section. We need to configure that in the plugins section. Okay, so which version of the Java you want to use? That also you can configure here. Source compatibility. Source compatibility is equal to 1.8. Target compatibility is equal to 1.8. That means I want to compile my project by using Java 1.8 version, and I want to run my project by using Java 1.8 version. Maybe in my system Java 11 is available, but for this project I want to use Java 1.8. Source compatibility I want to use Java 1.8. Target compatibility I want to use Java 1.8. Which version of Java you want to use in your project, that also you can specify by using these options in the Gradle script file. Can we create a Spring Boot project by using Gradle? How to create Spring Boot project by using Gradle? File, new, other, boot application. I want to create a Spring Boot project. To create the Spring Boot project, we need to select a Spring Starter project. I'm giving 0 to Gradle app. Here, guys, observe, if you want to create a Spring Starter project, nothing but Spring Boot, either Gradle or Maven is mandatory. You need to select either Maven as a build tool, or you need to select either Gradle as a build tool. Without using Maven and Gradle, you cannot create that Spring Boot project. So I'm using Gradle as a build tool. Group ID, I'm using it as in.Ashok IT. And artifact ID 0 to Gradle app. See how I am creating Spring Boot project using Gradle. File, new, other, Gradle project, not Gradle project, Spring Boot project. Spring Starter project. I'm selecting the artifact project name as 0 to Gradle app. 0 to Gradle app. Click on next. Here, I want to select web dependency to create the REST controller in the Spring Boot. If you want MySQL driver, you can select. If you want Oracle driver, you can select directly. I'm selecting only web dependency. Click on next, click on finish. So with this, my Spring Boot project is creating by using Gradle as a build tool. Yep. Project is created successfully. You can see that Spring Boot application created. Now, SRC main Java, Spring Boot start class is created. SRC resources, application properties file is also created. Test Java is created. Go to build.gradle file. Wow. See, it is giving build script by default. Java plugin, boot plugin, dependency management, source compatibility 1.8, Maven central repository. It requires Spring Boot web starter dependency as a implementation and Spring Boot starter tester as the dependencies. Okay. Spring Boot is coming by default. Now, let me go to this application. Let me take a REST controller. Let me take a REST controller. Let me write one method just to test it. Is it working or not? Get welcome message. Welcome to Spring Boot. I'm giving welcome to Spring Boot. That's it. I'm mapping this to get request method by using get mapping with a empty URL. Import the package. So here, whatever the jars that are required for my project, am I downloading these boot jar files or Gradle is downloading all these jar files? Guys, whatever the jar files are available in the build path, did I download these jar files or my Gradle tool is downloading these jar files? Who is downloading these jar files for us? Gradle is downloading these jar files and add it to build path. Okay. Am I writing this build.gradle file or when I create the boot application, this file is coming by default? When I create the boot application, this file is coming by default. File is coming by default. Okay. Fine. Now, can we run this project now? We have a REST controller. Can we package this project as a jar file and can we run this project? Can we package this application as a jar file and can we run this project? Tell me how to package this project. How to package this project, guys? Which task we need to execute? Which task we need to execute to package this project? Gradle build. So I need to execute from the command prompt or I can execute from IDE also. Do I need to execute from command prompt? I can execute from IDE also. Execute from IDE also. Okay. Go to this 0 to Gradle app project. 0 to Gradle app project. Currently, build folder is available in the project or build folder not available in the project. Guys, currently my build folder is available or my build folder is not available. Build folder is not available. Okay, I will compile this from, I will execute this from command prompt cd space 0 to Gradle application. Currently, I'm pointing to 0 to Gradle application. In this application, build folder not available. Let me execute Gradle build. I'm executing Gradle build. Compile Java. It is compiling my Java classes. Compiling my Java classes. Test is also completed. It is doing the test now. Executing the unit test classes. JUnit test classes it is executing. My classes compilation is success. It is executing my JUnit test classes. It is executing my JUnit test classes. Okay, once the build is success, go to project. Can you see build folder? Build folder available. In the build folder, can you see libs? Can you see the jar file is created? Jar file is created. I don't like this name, this lengthy name. Can we short this jar file name? Can we customize this jar file name? How to customize this jar file name? Go to build.gradle. Build.gradle. Here it specifies jar tag. I want to customize it. Jar tag. archives base name is equal to app. That's it. I'm giving archives base name. So what is the meaning of archives base name? What is the meaning of archives base name? It will customize the name. Now, let me do the clean and build again. Let me do the clean and build. Gradle clean build. Gradle clean build I'm doing. There we use Maven clean package, right? Here Gradle clean build. Clean build means delete the build directory and again build it. Delete the existing build directory and create the new output. Build success. Go to build directory. Now go to libs directory. App snapshot.jar it created. App 001-snapshot.jar. So whatever the name I have given, for that name it is giving the version also. Remove that version. I don't want to give the version. Okay. Again do the Gradle clean build. Build success. Go to build directory. Now can you see app.jar file is created? Now can you see app.jar file is created? How I customized that jar file name? By using jar archives base name. So if I tell like this, it will give archives base name. With that name, my jar file is created. So jar file is available in the build libs. Can we run that jar? Yes. How to run the jar? Java space -jar build/libs/app.jar. I'm running my jar file. In that jar file, Spring Boot application is available. Spring Boot REST API is available. Spring Boot will take care of the servers automatically. We no need to set the server also. Spring Boot will take the Tomcat server. So Spring Boot application I have created and I packaged that Spring Boot application as a jar file and I am running that jar file. So that Spring Boot application is giving the Tomcat server running on the port number 8080. Go and access our application. Go and access our application localhost : 8080. That's it. Localhost : 8080. My Spring Boot application which is running here, it will give the output. Welcome to Spring Boot. To run the boot application, we can do one more thing also. Directly we can use boot run command. So this my Gradle application is available. Let me execute Gradle clean. What Gradle clean will do? Gradle clean deleting the build directory. Currently, do we have the build directory or we don't have the build directory? We don't have the build directory. How to create the build directory? Gradle build. We will use a command Gradle build. When I use Gradle build, it will compile, it will package my project. Yes, it is done. Build is done. So my project is packaged. My project is packaged. Build it folder is created. Libs, app jar is created. Okay. So fine. In order to do this, we can simply use Gradle boot run. If you use Gradle boot run, it is going to run the boot application. So this application is executing. Tomcat server 8080 port number. Application started. Localhost : 8080. Yes. Are we able to access?